Hello, I'm recording this on Wednesday, June 25th, and that means two things. This episode is going to run pretty hard on the visual aid quotient, so go to YouTube or Spotify for the video version. It's also time for the Darkness News Update, brought to you by the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. Visit nailed.org for more from them. They are the only organization of lighting practitioners that aim to teach lighting practitioners to be better lighting practitioners. I'm going to keep saying practitioners, but look, we believe that the key to responsible outdoor light at night is the people who put the lights up. It's not the fixtures, it's not anything else. It's the people who put them up, and we are building, and have been building towards that for a very long time. Let's get into the news. The not department, not government, not efficient Department of Government Efficiency has cut the U.S. National Park Service budget in half, literally in half. And that threatens a number of smaller offices within the Park Service, including the U.S. Natural Sounds and Night Skies Division. This is 10 people who have overseen the award-winning Dark Sky project at the Grand Canyon. 5,000 fixtures made beautiful, absolutely beautiful in terms of preserving night and conserving natural habitats. They've also banned two-stroke motors in a number of parks, which is amazing, all things considered. But the deep cuts are hurting the smallest departments, and maybe these guys are the canaries in the coal mine for a broader situation. The Inner Mongolia University of Science and Technology has developed a new cyan phosphor. This uses a mix of UV and red and yellow phosphors to actually eliminate the blue spike. There are a bunch of non-blue spike LED options right now. Some of them depend on green, some depend on violet. This is just a new one. Maybe it proliferates and propagates, and there we go. We have two IES practice documents related to exterior lighting and the environment up for public review. Lighting Practice 10, an introduction to the environmental impacts of lighting, and Recommended Practice 43, lighting exterior applications, are open. They are being revised and updated because neither of them have been in like 15 years. But these are lighting these are lighting design documents that could be made better, especially in terms of what we do for circadian effects and conservation and animal welfare. And you can just make your voice heard. You can read these documents and you can say you need to change these things. The Nachtlichter program has published their 2025 results. Nachtlichter is an app that allows ground-level citizen science in Germany, and what it's found this year is that we're actually doing a really bad job of estimating the effects of interior lighting spilling out on the streets as a factor in light pollution, and maybe that can change. David Lorenz has updated his light pollutions map. He publishes these on GitHub. They just show the most accurate version he can manage of areas that are dealing with light pollution if you want to do any sort of astrotourism. We have a study showing that blue-rich light stimulates cut flowers, so that if you've got carnations in a vase at home, they're going to wilt faster under LED. Speaking of wilting under LED, blue light is bad for your self-esteem. This is a study from the Monash University in Australia that put participants under different lighting conditions and asked them to just look at a number of adjectives. Just pop up on a screen and say, oh, does this adjective apply to you? And under blue light, people were more likely to say that what the study deemed to be negative adjectives. Terrible is the one they bring up, but yeah, like any sort of negative self-talk became more prevalent under under blue light. The study proposes that this is really a good thing because now we can do lighting and interventions for warmer light in mental health spaces. But I just want to point out that, like, I don't know, take care of yourself, be nice to yourself, and maybe just warmer lighting is the key to that. The Zhejiang University School of Medicine in Huangzhou has determined that light at night and noise pollution at night affect older people more than younger people. This is part of a larger trend in studies from China as China urbanizes that shows that people over 65 are reporting. These are self reported results based on the Philadelphia Sleep Quality Measure that they are not sleeping as well as light and noise pollution enters their lives. We have a University of Victoria study in BC showing that sleep schedules that align with cultural norms are rewarded. This is based on the difference between Japan, Norway, and North America. If you're not familiar, Japanese office workers tend not to sleep as much per day as North Americans or Norwegians, and they found out that actually just conforming, just succumbing to peer pressure, is better than 8 hours of sleep. You're better off sleeping 6 hours if all your peers only sleep for 6 hours. This is I believe I have a theory that this is probably why we part of how we valorize early morning people in North America. But that's not what this study covered. That's just my me talking out of my suppositions and assumptions. In Australia, we have a study from New South Wales that shows that daylight saving time alters spending and socialization and travel habits in people under 30. They found that when we do that 1 week switch that changes the amount of daylight really drastically, people do change their habits. When we have earlier nights, as the result, more people use public transit. When we have later dusks, people spend less money eating out or going drinking. It's a weird little thing. Constant light and constant dark do damage the pineal gland in rats. Specifically, in either case, blood cortisol levels, which is to say stress hormones, did change. Fnord. We've also got a new study that shows that circadian disruption has been linked with Alzheimer's like pathologies in mice. Specifically, mice kept under conditions that disrupted their circadian rhythm had hyperphosphorylation of the tau enzymes and as well as deposition of amyloid betas that were consistent with neurodegenerative disease. Circadian disruptions also stress out zebra finches. This is a study from Auburn U in Alabama. They put birds under what they called human night shift lighting conditions, and their cortisols did spike. The interesting thing is that they didn't gain any weight, which they kind of expected. We also have a new study from the University of Florence that reiterates the need to reduce light pollution because literally the gene expressions of zebrafish are changing under light pollution. We also have a study that shows that light pollution alters the activity levels of slugs. A little bit of slugs, basic slugs. Turns out if you keep them under late night lit conditions, they change the amount of time per day they spend feeding, which means they're smaller, and that changes the vegetation around them as well. It's again, it's a part of the broader ecosystem. West Virginia University has predicted the extinction of the Photinius carolinus firefly. This is a particularly rare breed that actually pulse their lights in time with each other, and it's getting too bright for them to mate effectively. The IGB has published a new guide to umbrella species in conservation. This is a new opinion paper from Gregor Kalinkat that makes the case for protections of one species, say turtles, if that's the one in your area, that can be expanded to cover more in terms of conservation. This is basically the curb cut event or the curb cut effect, which is to say that we put curb cuts, small ramps and sidewalks to help people in wheelchairs, and it turns out that everyone likes them and they're really useful. So this effect can be the same. So if we protect sea turtles in Florida, all the migratory birds in the area also do pretty well, which is encouraging. A study from the University of Mississippi has found that bird safe glass is safe for birds, which is great because it would be a shame for them to have to change the name of. It'd be a shame for them to have to change the name of the product, but also the ornithology research team on campus was able to work with facilities management and the Robert C. Kairat Law Center to cut bird fatalities to zero in literally one migration cycle. Literally, they sat down and they put decals on some windows, they replaced the glass in others, and now the law school doesn't harm any birds anymore. We have a study of boggon moths that shows that they navigate using starlight for 600 miles. These are long haul moth migrations, and they use starlight to help them navigate from one part of the country to the other. And light pollution is going to make that harder if that really comes down to it. We also have a study from Wuhan University that shows that Allen, light at night, is outpacing climate change and when it comes to extending growing season. They were using satellite photography taken from 428 urban centers in the Northern Hemisphere from 2014 to 2020. And they found that as light in those urban centers changed, the amount of vegetation changed to match that, not the heat of those areas. And that's interesting. Dark Sky Ireland is hosting their annual Allen Conference October 28th through 31st in the town of Mayo. In Michigan, we have a bill that would change the current state of dark sky preserves in the Upper Peninsula. There is a bill on record in Michigan that limits the number of dark sky spaces to 13, all of them run by the state. And there is a debate about amending that part of a conservation bill out of existence. And there is a partisan split in the state Senate as to whether or not that could change. More details as we have more details. We have 70 lighting violations found in Fort Myers, Florida. Local authorities are doubling down on turtle safety enforcement this year, and they're already cracking on people that are just leaving their lights on. Lauderdale, Florida, has begun levying new fines on light and noise violations, with multiple homes and one church being fined for light trespass. St. Pete, Florida, has adopted an entirely voluntary lighting rule for turtle season. This is a new ordinance that is actually a set of recommendations for beachfront property owners. Huntsville, Ontario, has actually set up a lighting bylaw 10 years ago, and now it's going to come into effect. They are planning their code enforcement plans and how bylaw officers are going to manage that as it goes into effect in January 2026. Welland, Ontario, has set a new nuisance lighting bylaw, specifically in a way that allows bylaw enforcement tools to manage light trespass by letting them work at night. That's a hard thing. That's actually kind of a hard part. Is you kind of need to have city employees that aren't cops working at night to manage these sometimes. In Los Angeles, the neighborhood of Nachitoches is debating sign brightness. Specifically, the city has received a request, or the neighborhood. LA City Council politics are a bit weird, where neighborhoods also run city councils. It's like Tokyo or Berlin. But anyway, they are debating the use of neon signs inside. That might be allowed finally over there, or not. Dark Sky International has recognized the Hub Sports Center in Liberty Lake, Washington, which is a rare sports field certification. I wish more sports fields really went after this. It's great that there's parks. It's great that there's counties and towns getting Dark Sky International certifications, but the sports fields, those are the ones I'd really like to see. things you don't like to see is that the Wyoming Supreme Court will finally allow the Cody LDS temple to go ahead. This is a 2-year saga of planning and zoning board shenanigans and lawsuits and everything else. And now the building's going up. The state of Texas has very quietly dropped all of their border projects. 800 miles of border projects have been dropped. That means no new fencing, no new lighting, but they are asking the federal government to pick up on that. We'll see how that goes. In the UK, MP Carla Denyer spoke out on the floor of Parliament against ad pollution. She would really like brightness limits on billboards. I say she also needs to talk about timing, but one thing at a time. In not so local news, Starlink satellites are leaking signals. This is a new study that confirms something we've already talked about, which is that Starlink, the 5G transmission microsatellite constellation system, is not actually only emitting 5G radiation. It is also emitting on other spectra. And that means that as they broadcast outside their prescribed limits, that is causing static in radio astronomy, the thing we use to understand distant objects in space. Also, it might become a hazard for other communication satellites. In the UK, we have a new CubeSat program that will test Vanta Black coatings. Specifically, the Jovian 1 CubeSat, which is about the size of a shoebox, will be coated in Vanta Black 310, a new carbon nanotube material that absorbs 99.965% of all light that hits it. This should limit the amount of light pollution that any sort of that should limit the amount of light pollution that these devices cause. This has led to an opinion piece from space.com that says that actually we should just be coating all satellites, Starlink, Virgin, whoever, with Vanta Black. And in response to this opinion piece, I have to go on a bit of a rant. But before I start that rant, I have to make sure that you are not Anish Kapoor, that you are not professionally associated with Anish Kapoor, and that should you ever have a personal interaction with Anish Kapoor, you're never going to tell him what I said. Use the comments to sound off on that, please. Just take a minute to do that. All right, so here's the thing about satellite constellations, a thing I rant about a lot, but this is a new rant. So I'm going to hold something white in front of my face right now. It's probably doing something weird to the green screen I can't see because I'm holding a piece of white paper in front of my face. But you can tell that that things are being blocked. That light is being reflected, and it's not great. You can't see me. Okay? White, reflective, bad. Okay? I'm going to hold something black in front of my face. And yeah, guess what? Better, probably, but it's still blocking my face, and it's still annoying. Right? Fair enough. White object, reflective object that reflects light, bad. But a black object is still blocking observations. So, the idea of coating satellites is only a bit of a fix. Only a bit. Then there's the next part. The next part is that Vanta Black is a wholly owned IP, a proprietary coating system from Surrey Nanosystems. It is a very expensive thing for them to make. They are very protective of how they developed it. And that means that they tended to insist on exclusivity in who gets it. You don't know that because we've already established that you're not Anish Kapoor. Anish Kapoor is the only artist allowed to use Vantablack in his projects. But that means that if we add Vantablack to SpaceX, they probably won't let Virgin use Vantablack. They're certainly not going to let China's 10,000 sales project use Vantablack, because that would mean letting China have the whole process, because that's how their trade deals work. Also, it's very expensive, and SpaceX gets most of its contracts from the government. This would be tax dollars from dozens of countries, tens of millions of tax dollars from multiple countries, feeding SpaceX for something that, again, is just cell phone signals. It's just cell phone signals. Lastly, or not lastly, but nextly, there are just so many satellites. The Chinese 10,000 sales, that's not like Chinese poetry. That's not like, ooh, a myriad or a multitude of things. No, they literally want 10,000 satellites. And when you have 10,000 white things or 10,000 black things, it's still terrible for astronomy. And then let's rewind to 3 minutes ago when I said that Starlink satellites were leaking signals. Starlink satellites are leaking signals. This is a new study that confirms something we've already talked about, which is that Starlink, the 5G transmission microsatellite constellation system, is not actually only emitting 5G radiation. It is also emitting on other spectra. That you can't paint something to make it not leak signals. These devices are going to spread radio waves that bother each other, that bother observatories, and it's not gonna help. We can't. Fixing our way out of these low orbit objects is going to be more complicated than paint. Rant over. I guess if you're an Anish Kapoor, you can start listening again. I'll say that lastly, we want to say that this is not sponsored, but WePro has launched a new line of Dark Sky International approved products in terms of street lighting, flood lighting, decorative options. They look pretty good. Consider them. And lastly, we're going to close out with a video skeet from Gabe Wasiliko. I probably pronounced that wrong. Sorry, Gabe. But he took a bunch of video and photos of Cleveland at 3 a.m., and this is how bright Cleveland is at 3 a.m. Until next time, I've been Scott Wachter. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for leaving a rating or review or just telling a friend. This has been brought to you by Nailed. Visit nailed.org because we're about to launch. I'm announcing it now. Hell with it. I'm announcing it now. We are about to spend the summer testing Lighting Specialist Darkness Restoration 1, the first training program for lighting professionals in the field of responsible light at night. It's gonna be great, guys. See ya.